Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. So here's a $1,000,000 question. You might be asking yourself whether you're a guy or a gal. Is it a fling or a lifelong thing? Well, since I've been in a almost 40-year relationship, 39 years to be exact, and also since I've had a few flings myself, I thought I'd come on and talk about how do we know one from the other. And I'm going to let you in on those things in this video. If it's real, they'll follow through, okay? What they tell you, they will follow through. So if they say they're going to do something, they'll do it. If it's a fling, they will not follow through what they say. So that's a biggie right there. Do they follow through on what they say? Number two, if it's a fling, they will almost hardly ever, I'm not going to say like it's impossible, introduce you to their family or friends. Now, I've had a fling where I went to the guy's wedding and I saw all his family and I saw his best friend. We went out to dinner together in New York. So that that didn't bode well there, but I'm saying almost always, not always. So if it's real, the guy will want to show you off as his girl, or the girl will want to show you off as her beau, and they will want to introduce you to the significant others, their family members, their friends, their best friends. Whereas if it's a fling, usually not. Usually you're a hidden, you know what, a closet rhymes with uck. That's what I was for one guy. But then another guy, you know, he did introduce me to his family and his best friends and the people at work. I went to his job too. In fact, everyone knew me. All the people that he worked with, his best friends, his whole family, his daughters, his in-laws, you know. But it's usually not always that case. But this guy didn't follow through on things. So that, see, it's not just one of these things that I'm trying to, you know, tell you. It's like it's like many of these things added up together that you need to look at, you know, over the big picture. Okay, so that's two. Number three, do these guys hang around when times get tough? It's easy to be, you know, to be there in the fun times, right? Dating, you know, someone new is exciting, and sex with someone new is awesome, right? But what about when you're sick? You know, you haven't slept all night, you've been throwing up, you have a stomach bug, you don't feel good. Or what about if a life crisis comes? What if something happens in your life and you really need to depend on that? You know, not every day can be sunshine, you know, and roses. Up train. What do they do then? What do they do when you're when you're, you know, down and out, when you're not looking your best, you know, when you're sick and you're not made up, when you're going through, you know, a bad time in your life? Are they there or do they run? It just reminds me of the episode, I know I'm going way back here, on the Brady Bunch, if any of you guys are big Brady Bunch fans, with Marcia, when the star football player asked her out, and she was so excited. This guy was a hunk, and she turned down the other guy, like the nerdy guy, to go out with the football player, because he was like the star football player, really handsome. But then, when she was playing catch with a sibling, a football hit her nose, and her nose ballooned. And she didn't look so pretty with a big puffy nose, right? And so when he saw that, the big hunky football player, he said, "Oh, you know what, Marsha? Something suddenly came up, and I have to break our date on Saturday." See what I'm telling you? She didn't look that pretty with a big puffy nose. So, where's the guy during hard times when you're sick, right? Who sticks with you? I had friends that they talk on the phone, but one time I was telling my girlfriend, someone, I don't know, broke into our bank account, hacked our bank account, and they took all our money. Literally, it was wiped out. This was a few years ago. And it was right around Christmas when I needed money the most to buy Christmas gifts, especially for my children. And as soon as I told her that, you know what she said to me? She said, "Oh, I'll let you go." Imagine! Yeah, because I was shaken, I was upset, and I needed a friend to talk to, and, "Oh, I'll let you go." But when she had a problem, guess who was always there to listen to her? Don't even get me started there. So you got to pay attention to that. Is this guy or gal always around during the good times? A good time Charlie? You never heard of that term? Good time Charlie? Good time Charlie's got the blues. Yeah. Watch and see when stuff starts happening where that person is. When you're not so pretty, or when you're going through a really hard time in life. So keep an eye on that. And then, another thing. You know that song, "If they like it, then they'll be sure to put a ring on it. If they like it, then they're sure to put a ring on it." If a guy really loves you, he's not going to want anyone else to get a chance with you. He's going to want to tell the world, "Hey, this is mine, honey." Buzz off, creeps. And what's a better way to tell the world than get that ring on her finger? Yeah. So if it isn't a fling, they'll give you the ring. Remember that, because I'm a poet and I just made a rhyme. Isn't that wicked, awesome, piss of cool? If it isn't a fling, they'll give you a ring. So if you've been going out for a certain amount of time, I don't know what's a certain amount of time in your books, because that's a relative term. You don't see any ring or promise of a future, it's a fling. So I advise you to leave that relationship fast. Oh, it's a windy day here today. So they'll want to make a commitment. Now, another thing. How much does a guy share with you, or girl? How much does a person share with you? Because if it's a fling, they're going to have secrets. Like with Jim, the psychologist I had a 2-year affair with, he never introduced me to his family or friends. Remember I told you that red flag? Never made any kind of commitments. Never had me move in with him. And he kept the fact that he was married before for me. Secrets. So, if someone is only a fling, they're going to keep things from you. Alright? Like the fact that, and this happened to my friend Linda too. She was dating a guy, and he didn't tell her that he was married. But she should have known better. Come on. They always went to a hotel instead of him taking Linda back to his place. What does that tell you? That's pretty obvious. I mean, isn't it obvious? You need to see the person's place. House, apartment, condo, whatever it is. Trailer, I don't know. Wherever they live in, you need to see it, okay? You need to get a phone number, and you need to be available to call that person. Not at only certain times, but you need to be available to call that person all the time. If they restrict that and don't tell you, That is a clear sign that it's just a fling, because they're keeping secrets. So remember, keeping secrets is always a clear sign that the relationship is a fling. Now, if the person seems too good to be true, and you don't get to see all sides of them, like when they're angry, when they're sick, that's very important. Because if it's a fling, you'll only see their best side, their sunny side, like a sunny side up egg. You won't see their good side. I mean, their bad side. Sorry. You'll only see the good side. So it's very important that you see all their sides. See how they act when they're angry. Do they lose their temper? How do they treat you when things aren't going their way? That's another big thing. How do they treat you when things are not going their way? How do they act when they're angry? How do they act when they're upset? Those are very important factors to take in, okay? Because if you're only seeing the other person in the good times, then it's not an everlasting thing. It's a